Hi, greetings. It's me, Dr. Paul Gerhardt, and today I want to talk about personality, stress, learning, and perceptions. As you know, really, we are everything in our head. Everything that happens around us really is about perception. We, of course, have to process the information through our brains. And so really understanding how our brains work is pretty important. And so I've got a few activities that I do related to understanding how our brains work and doing our best work. We've seen a lot in studying human physiology about how stress actually kills and is related to almost every kind of disease that we could get. Stress breaks down our immune system. When our immune system is broken down, we get sick. Sometimes we get diseases like cancer or other terminal diseases that really all start could possibly be traced back to stress in many ways. And so really learning how to control stress and manage stress is important. Not all stress is bad. Some stress will actually motivate you to go above and beyond. And that's good to know. If you could keep a positive light on your stress, it's like, oh good, I like the fact that I'm being energized by the fact that I've got deadlines coming up. I work best under pressure. Using that kind of positive language may actually help you accomplish your goals and help you get more done. But doing things like getting enough sleep, of course, consult your doctor about anything that I talk about in any of these videos. But really, it's just common sense. Eating right, your body tends to become inflamed and is fighting eating foods that aren't good for us, when really what we should be doing is really looking at nutritional values of food, getting enough protein, eating enough fresh leafy green vegetables, avoiding drinking too much alcohol, avoiding doing drugs, things that can affect our physiology, especially our brain. So we're all interconnected. Every part of our body affects every part of our body, essentially. And so the best thing we can do is do things that are good for our bodies, including getting enough sleep, making sure that we reduce stress, and doing things to manage our stress, like eating properly, getting enough exercise, for instance. And speaking of exercise, one of my favorite exercises to do with workshop participants or students that I work with in college is the measuring tape exercise. And this is kind of an interesting activity. So in the measuring tape exercise, I break the teams apart so that they're evenly divided. And sometimes I like to go with people's birth dates. And so people from January, February, March will go in group number 1, and April, May, and June. You get how to divide the teams up. But then I try to make sure that they're as evenly divided as possible from there. Then I have students stretch out their arms as much as possible on each of the teams, and we measure the arm spans of each team, and they have to add up the total length of the arm spans to the nearest half inch. And everybody reports back, and I write it on the board, and we applaud the team with the longest arm spans combined. Then I ask students to do it again in their same teams, and I ask them to really make sure that they're giving their best, they're being absolutely honest, and they're practicing integrity in the exercise, and they all have to agree that they do that. And what they find is that usually in measuring for the second time, that their arm spans are significantly longer. And so we talk about how perception, most people will say, well, I already stretched my arms out as long as I could, or we had different people measuring and that may have affected the accuracy. So there's a lot of different things that go into accuracy. Not everything is as we think it is, and that's what a paradigm is. It's about our perception about different things, our reality in every situation. So sometimes there really is a silver lining. I had a friend who is a real estate investor, and he buys properties and fixes them up and flips them for a profit. And he was telling me how stressed out that he once was because the city that we live in held back some of the certifications and approvals that he needed from the city in order to make the changes to the houses that he was working on. And he was really irritated and stressed out because it set him a month or two behind schedule. He really wanted to sell this house as promised and fixed up, and he lost a buyer, potential buyer, because of city requirements and jumping through the hoops and getting the approvals from the city. And what actually ended up happening worked out in his favor, because in the following month the values of houses went up dramatically. And he said, I got stressed out for nothing, and I made significantly more because the city made me jump through hoops that I didn't think I had to go through. So almost all the time, most of the time anyway, almost anything that happens to us which may appear to be harmful or stressful to us usually is better than how things actually turn out. I'm not saying 100%. I'm trying to be real about things. But isn't that the truth? I mean, most of the time things usually are better than what we expect, and sometimes we create more drama in our life than we need to. So really being able to manage your own stress and recognize that every problem really is a challenge, or an opportunity is even better. So if you see things as a problem, your perception is, this is a crisis, this is supposed to stress me out. And if you see things as an opportunity, you really can take a different look at how things are and try to navigate things to even more success. Find people that can help you work through whatever situation it is, or involve coworkers even more, or team members even more. So there's a lot of ways to create win-win situations that reduce stress. But we have to remember, everything really is about our own perception. So, and our perception, I get, is our reality. But as the late great Stephen Covey will tell you, how we see things affects what we do, which affects what we get. I'll say it again. It's such a cool phrase, and it's so true. How we see things affects what we do, which affects what we get. So if we see every problem as an opportunity, we're more likely to stick with it and find better solutions. And usually things will turn out better than they can normally be if we're under stress, because stress kind of impedes our thinking processes. We're not seeing things as clearly as we can if we're stressed out. So there you can see that really is kind of the connection between stress and our own perceptions. So I'm thinking about this measuring activity too, and from a business perspective, the philosophy is what gets measured gets improved. So that works in our own daily lives too. You know, if you think of yourself as the controller of your own destiny, don't you think that if you could take a measurement of how things are now, and even though you think you're using all of your time wisely, I suspect that if you had really clear goals on what you wanted to do, and then you put due dates next to those goals and the tasks that are associated with accomplishing those goals ultimately, you may find that by step you get closer to accomplishing your goals, and it reduces your stress as you accomplish even more. So I can remember thinking I was just going to start and work on an associate's degree, and then I ended up finishing an associate's degree and working on my bachelor's degree, and from there a master's degree, and then finally my doctorate. Now I teach doctoral students, and I teach leaders in industry how to be more effective. But it's pretty amazing how quickly time passes. But when you have clear goals, and then you really make sure that you are putting dates associated with those goals, you find that you can accomplish a lot more, and those accomplishments make you feel pretty good. And it's the more that you feel like you've accomplished in life, the better you get, and the more you realize that we really truly are the only ones that affect our own destinies. So make sure that you take a measure on where you are in life, how much sleep you're getting, how much food you're eating, when you're eating, how happy are you, what would make you even happier. Really being very clear on who you are truly is key to many successes. And then understanding your personality type. Our personalities are what make us who we are. And it's based on genetics and environmental factors, and personality type has a lot to do with levels of stress. Intelligence, it affects our levels and our personality type. Our learning style really depends on our own personality. We learn in a lot of different ways. We'll talk about that here shortly. But we get along better, generally speaking, when people have similar personalities as us. But more learning takes place very often when we're open to really listening to the ideas and thoughts of other people, and we're flexible with the way that we see things. It really is a choice on whether or not we want to agree with someone or not. But if you start with the perception that I believe everybody is smart, and then you ask good questions to really understand the perceptions of why people believe what they believe, you might learn that you might get more friends, by the way, but you also might be able to have more tools in your toolbox that can assist you in your relationships and in your career later. So we really must work on ourselves first, and really understanding our personality types is so important. I'm a big fan of Myers-Briggs, so if you really want to do it right, you need to hire a Myers-Briggs practitioner to help assess you. But if you wanted to do it for free online and have a basic tool to work with, there's free tools out there, and you can find them by using Google, of course. And I would Google free MBTI assessment or free Myers-Briggs test. And that's a personality assessment that is based on Dr. Carl Jung's work in a mother-daughter team who worked in the human resources department to really understand, be able to measure personality attributes to understand a person's preferences. And so you can find the Myers-Briggs personality type assessment, like I said, using Google, and the one that I often recommend comes from humanmetrics.com. So when you take the assessment, do not think of yourself at work. Think of yourself as you in your natural being, where you are just allowed to be who you are, and then answer all the questions from there with an open mind. Choose the best answers. When you get to the button where you send it, and you'll come up with 4 letters. Once you get those 4 letters, and they could be like ESFP, for instance, that's a very popular personality type. ESFP, use Google to find more information about your personality type. So type in ESFP personalities, if those are the 4 letters, and find out and read up what that's about. It's even better to help you find a career that's in alignment with your personality type or the way your brain is wired. And so you could Google ESFP careers and see what careers interest you, that people who are very successful in those careers, what are their personality types. And then just for fun, you can Google famous ESFPs or whatever your personality type, and you'll see that even Bart Simpson, a cartoon character, has been typed. But it really is pretty amazing to really understand yourself from the perspective of personality typing. Because the bottom line with personalities is once you understand yourself, how you're wired, why you do, what your preferences are, you'll understand why some people irritate you. And it will help you be able to manage yourself better, because you really have 3 choices in any situations. You can change the situation. I don't like you, I'm taking my ball and going home. Or, let me try to manipulate you and try to change you, which would be hard to do. You don't have to manipulate people, but trying to change people is very difficult. Or you can change yourself by having an open mind and being flexible. So one of my favorite stories about perception and attitude, these are things that we each need to look at, is about a bricklayer. And it's a famous story. And a bricklayer is working out in the olden days, out in the open outside. And a reporter comes up to him and says, "Hey, sir, what are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm miserable. This is the stupidest job in the world, and I can't wait to find a new job. Me and these people here, we're just taking all these heavy bricks and we're laying them down on each other, and we're slapping some mortar down there, and we're grabbing some more bricks, and we're just stacking them on each other. That's all we do all darn day. I hate my job. I'm miserable." And the reporter says, "Wow, that's very interesting. You sound very unhappy." "Of course I'm unhappy. Who would be happy, working with all these people? We're all doing the same thing, lifting these bricks and stacking them and packing them all day long." He's like, "Yeah, that sounds terrible." And so the reporter goes across town and he sees another team, and they're all whistling and they're laying down the bricks and putting down some mortar and laying down the bricks, and they're telling jokes and laughing and singing, and they're laying down the bricks. And the reporter says, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" He's like, "Wow, we are so lucky. We've got the best job in the world. You see, all we do each and every day is we take these bricks, we lay down some mortar, and we just stack them on top of each other. And if you would look around, look at that beautiful chapel behind me. We get to build those things. I've got the best job in the world." So, same job, just different attitude. How you see things affects what you do with what you get. We really essentially create our own stress, but that's really about perception. So, our own intelligence and personality actually can affect our employability too. I think about a person that I knew working with in corporate America, and he was really good at doing what he did. And he was having a bad day, going through a divorce, and we just got a new vice president who was making the rounds, and he saw my friend John doing, I don't remember what it was, but he didn't have a smile on his face, and he just looked kind of miserable. And that was his first impression on that vice president. Even though John was up for a promotion before that, and he was a real rock star, great employee, very smart, hardworking, and because the vice president held a lot of power and all the approvals for promotions really needed to ultimately go through him, this person never got a promotion because that first impression really scarred the reputation of that individual. So we really need to be aware of doing the right thing all the time, putting our best foot forward, staying positive all the time. Our actions lead to first impressions, which can make or break relationships and can affect our own performance. And so you've got to leave a good first impression and then don't mess it up. Most of us wear a suit to a job interview, and we speak with proper grammar, and we have proper spelling in our resumes, and we're polite and we're kind. But then if we turn around and are rude to people and aren't putting our best foot forward and using improper grammar or spelling or dressing in a way that makes our organization look like they'll just hire anybody rather than quality people, those are the kinds of things that would diminish our own reputations, and therefore can have a negative impact on your career. So perception really is everything. It's really easy, and this is called Locus of Control. It's really easy to blame other people for your failures. I can't believe it. It's my mom's fault. 10 years ago she called me stupid, or it's my boss's fault that I can't do this, or my spouse's fault because he or she did this. Whatever it is, if you're blaming other people, you have an external locus of control, and you're not taking responsibility for your own actions. I failed that test because that stupid professor made the quiz too hard. Or he didn't talk about this in the lecture, and so I didn't study it. That's not taking responsibility for your own actions. So taking responsibility for your own actions, say the quiz was going to be on chapter 1, and I should have studied the whole chapter. I should have asked questions about this, or yeah, my boss was probably having a bad day when she said that, but we all have bad days. It really is my fault that I didn't do this, and no wonder why she said that the way that she did. So really taking a look at where you place the blame really is an important concept in human relations. Do you have an internal locus of control? All my successes and failures are my fault and my doing? Or do you have an external locus of control? It's everybody else's fault, that anything that goes wrong is their fault. You'll find that most of the winners, people who have high levels of success in everything that they do, have the same challenges as us, but the thing that distinguishes them most really is how they accept personal responsibility for it. So internal locus control is really where you need to be. There was a study, lots of studies on type A and type B personalities. Type A are fast-moving, hard-driving, time-conscious, competitive, impatient, and preoccupied with work. We all know people like that. Maybe it's you. And maybe we can each get that way. But generally speaking, type B people are the opposite. And we need to recognize that all personality types have their place. But we also need to know that we need to be careful in what we choose to do, because it will almost always affects other people. So lots of lessons there as it relates to personality and choices, and really being aware of how we affect our own successes. One of the last things that I want to talk about is something called emotional intelligence. Essentially, emotional intelligence is about self-awareness, managing our own emotions, motivating yourself, empathy, and social skills. The people in the highest positions of every organization really need to have high levels of emotional intelligence. Really being aware that you are the one that is the controller of your own actions. When you're angry, recognize that you're angry, and also recognize that if you make a decision or say things out of anger, that can damage relationships. So, and also we have the ability to affect other people's relationships. So we truly, truly, truly must be empathetic with other people. Don't judge other people. Meet people where they are. If people are sick, don't say you cry baby, get over it. Honor that. So we really have to be more emotionally intelligent. I highly recommend that you go to Amazon and find a good book on emotional intelligence, or do some research online about emotional intelligence. It will help you in your career significantly. And the good thing about emotional intelligence compared to IQ intelligence is that your IQ stays essentially the same. We have power to increase our IQ, but it's a lot easier to increase your EQ. That really is about learning to manage your emotions better and be empathetic, really understand things from other people, and have better social skills too. Say hi to people, be genuinely kind to people. Kindness goes a long ways. Learning styles. Essentially, 4 learning styles are feeling, observing, thinking, and doing. Some people call them accommodator, which is doing and feeling, and diverger, which is observing and feeling, converger, which combines doing and thinking, and then assimilator, which combines observing and thinking. So it really is important to understand your own personal learning style, and then be able to know what to look for in other people, to understand their learning styles. Because when we're communicating, we're teaching. And if we want to teach people most effectively, we have to learn to appeal to their learning styles. All right, I know I've given you a lot of information, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask if you have questions. And have a great day. Only you get to choose how you feel about it. I'm Dr. Paul Gerhardt.